Good day, everybody. This is Morsels of a Thought, late 90 minutes. Morsels of a Thought, 1876. I'm very sorry about being late. I have no excuse. I fell asleep and did not get up. I have issues with medicine, and so I fell asleep and did not get up. And then I had technical difficulties up the you know where. Okay, I'm going to start on page 90 with Dr. Brody Miller, Brain Rescue, a 90-day blueprint to reclaim your memory after a brain injury or concussion. This is wisdom. I am reading through this on Fridays because I believe that lots of people who hit themselves on the head don't know these things that they can do to make their brains better even than they were before. There are parts of the brain that can be damaged, but there are other parts with the neuroplasticity that Dr. Brody Miller and others speak of. It is impossible not to get better if you do exercises. You get better if you do brain exercises. Now, Dr. Brody Miller is also on Instagram, so if you go look for him, DrBrodyMiller, that's him there. We call him Dr. Brody for short. But his Dr. Brody Miller is on Instagram, and he gives you exercises pretty much every day. Yesterday, I saw him give the 49th in a consecutive day row of a show on Instagram. So, anyway, morsels of a thought are for morsels of a thought of hopefully wisdom, hopefully that we learn the right things to do for ourselves in life. I want to inspire you to do at least one thing in the day to do something right for yourself. And morsels of a thought bring you to wisdom when I bring you people who are wise. So this is Fridays. We're doing brain repair. Saturdays as well. We do another book called How to Feed a Brain by Cavino Ballister. His name is really Cavin Ballister. We call him Cavino for short. We do that on Saturdays, and these two authors, they work together, as a matter of fact, and their brain work does also work together. Okay, so Dr. Brody Miller says here on page 90, I want to tell a story to you all, and maybe you can relate. It feels like yesterday, as I was sitting on the floor of my room, I was feeling quite awful at the time. I decided that I would not get up from the meditation until I felt much better. In the months prior to this, there was something that really bugged me. I often asked myself if I was developing Parkinson's disease like the great Muhammad Ali. It tortured me to my core. After 30 to 45 minutes into the meditation, my head started shaking quite violently and rapidly. It was really scary, like violent, super random convulsions. The intensity only continued to get more and more. However, I decided to stop fighting the shaking, let go, and trust that this is, quote, supposed, end quote, to be happening. I continued to shake violently, maybe even more forceful than before, for about 2 to 3 minutes. When I did that, I experienced a huge energy release that to this day is difficult to describe. The best way I can say it I felt like a huge trauma release and a deep connection to the universe. It was as if space and time collapsed upon itself. Now, I want to explain that in the life science technology that I've studied under Dr. Yan Xing, Yan, first name Xin, there is a concept of Qigong, spontaneous movement. It will occur, and it is an advancement toward your better qigong state. So it is possible. And in China, this particular doctor, he has emitted energy to crowds of people that all went into these violent convulsions, and Since Westerners didn't understand it very well, he stopped doing that in the United States. He emitted the energy differently so that we can have our energy releases slowly. But Dr. Brody Miller experienced exactly what was there, the spontaneous movement of energy work. And in Chinese, it's well known, but it's um, not as well known in the United States. I just wanted to say that. Anyway, back to Dr. Brody Miller. He is talking about his experience. He says, I have had multiple experiences like this during my meditation. Needless to say, I have never doubted the power of energy since then, because that is all that there is. For you, this means that your recovery isn't just a linear process. By tapping into this energy, connecting with your surroundings, and engaging with your inner self, you can ignite a transformation that goes beyond just healing. You can generate a new reality filled with possibility. The energy you generate within yourself can transcend barriers, much like the atoms in Gison's experiment, GISIN. This powerful connection can lead you to new heights in your journey toward recovery and wholeness. Embrace it and watch your life transform. Action step: 3 easy steps to interrupt your pattern. This is interesting. When you get stuck in an over when you get stuck in an unproductive way of thinking, feeling, acting, or overall bad energetic state, you really need to break the pattern. At the end of the day, every action has an equal and opposite reaction in the universe. Call this the law of karma or whatever you want to call it. It, quote unquote, is undeniably true. Number one, catch yourself. Whenever you have a negative thought, emotion, or behavior, catch yourself and become aware of it. For extra effect, you can scream out or yell in your mind, "Stop!" Number two, interrupt the pattern. Depending on how strong, hardwired, or automatic the pattern is, you will need to interrupt it with an equally powerful force. Some of the best ways to interrupt the pattern are to take a deep breath when you say something negative. Other ways are to take a cold shower, engage in vigorous exercise, change your environment, or a continuous deep cyclical hyperventilation breathing. Number three, repeat. Things often do not change after one time of interrupting the pattern. Continue to do this until it breaks the pattern for good. Claim your VIP spot today. Get early access to discounts, offers, and 15 free Mind Gym, capital M, capital G, exercises. Just scan the QR code or go to www.dr-bro.com/VIP brain rescue, all one word. There we are. And here is a QR code. I do not know whether you are going to be able to use it over the screen this way, but I have been recording. I wanted to record, my camera can record in for what do you call G, but the StreamYard does high density, so it's just 1080p. Anyway, chapter 6. The third pillar is B for brain. I want to show you, well, no, I don't want to show you that board. It's kind of cheesy looking to me because I didn't do calligraphy. I want to do it in calligraphy. Okay, this section, it's because it's bigger. This section is all about the 5 principles of neuroplasticity, capital N, to use for predictable results in your memory recovery journey. When you harness the 5 core principles of neuroplasticity, breathing, repetition, association, intensity, and novelty, you unlock your brain's full potential to recover your memory and thrive. These 5 core principles are not only a matter of neuroscience, but ultimately a matter of the laws of physics. We all need to be um, we all need to be physicists in life and chemists and engineers, you know. The first step is B for breathing. Breath is the bridge which connects life to consciousness, which unites your body to your thoughts. And that's by Thich Nhat Hanh. He was a very famous Vietnamese monk who lived until very recently. I used to watch his speeches. He is very wise, very wise. He's got recordings. He's passed on, but he still has all these recordings. You should look him up, and I'll spell his name to you. It's Thich, and there's an accent aigu over the I. And then Nhat, there's a tilde over the A. And then H-A-N-H, and there's a dot under the A. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's Thich Nhat Hanh to us. Breath is the bridge which connects life to consciousness, which unites your body to your thoughts. Breath, breath, breath. Breathing matters, Dr. Brody says. Breathing is the essence of all life. Your brain, which makes up only 2% of your body mass, consumes 20% of your body's energy. To activate your brain properly, you need to master the skill of intentional breathing. The way you breathe matters a lot. Here's the thing. When you breathe in, you are activating your sympathetic nervous system. When you breathe out, you are relaxing your parasympathetic system. If you are a shallow breather, you prevent the parasympathetic system from engaging properly. As a result, stress hormones flood your system, clouding your thinking and activating your primal survival response. Can you imagine living that way? Hard life. Fast, shallow, and mouth breathing equals anxiety. Deep breathing causes your abdomen to rise and fall and consequently lowers your heart rate. When you breathe deeply, your body naturally shifts into a state of calm, meaning you can literally shift your state with breath. And I want to say something that Thich Nhat Hanh said in a video that Thich Nhat Hanh, the man that Dr. Brody just quoted. Um, Thich Nhat Hanh said that when you are angry, you can lie there or sit there, but you watch your chest and your stomach, and you breathe in and you breathe out. I breathe in, I breathe out, and watch yourself and say that to yourself. I breathe in, I breathe out. I breathe in, I breathe out, and watch your stomach. I tell you, I was angry at somebody one time, and I was so angry that I was pretty sure I was going to go down and knock on her door and slap her in the face. I was that angry at her, and I knew that would be assault. So I didn't want to do it, but I really wanted to do it. So on that particular morning, Thich Nhat Hanh was one of the videos that one of my mentors was putting on stage in his video that morning. I used to watch a class at 6 a.m. my time. And he said, breathe in, breathe out, watch yourself, watch yourself. I breathe in, I breathe out. I did that for 4 hours before I stopped being angry at that woman. I tell you, that's how angry I was. I was so. Okay, shake your head, Mary. Okay, no. All right. The inhale, sometimes I call myself that. Oh, by the way, we are reading Brain Rescue, a 90-day blueprint to reclaim your memory after a brain injury or concussion. Now, Dr. Brody Miller is a Ph.D., so he is a doctor, but he is not a medical doctor. This is all, he has a disclaimer that says this is all not medical advice. This is simply real advice to do for your brain for exercises, and you have to go to your own MD for the rest of your services, your health. The inhalation portion of the breath is energizing. The exhalations are relaxing in the same way that your heart rate, breathing rate changes according to your state. Where the breath goes, energy and blood flow go. Better blood flow means better brain health. This is all Dr. Brody Miller speaking. Think about if a lion walked in the door behind you, you wouldn't be taking a long exhale. You would be ready to run your ass off. Deep breathing engages the diaphragm, which is closely linked to the vagus nerve. Breathing is directly correlated to memory recall, meaning that your breathing patterns influence how well you remember things. In the world with my patients, says Dr. Brody Miller, we explore and quantify different skills like breath holds and CO2 tolerance training to build stress resilience, improve oxygenation, and create an ideal environment for memory restoration. By adjusting the pace and intensity of your breathing, you can change your brain's state, reduce stress, and improve cognitive function fast. Now, let's dive into the incredible science behind breath holds. But before we dive into that, have you watched the movie The Water Boy with Adam Sandler playing the role of Bobby Boucher? I don't know if you love it, but I do, and you need to check it out. There what is a hilarious scene with a professor who looks like Colonel Sanders who asks his class, "Can anyone tell me why alligators are so aggressive all the time?" Boucher raises his hand and says, "Mama says it's because alligators got all their teeth but no way to brush them." The class laughs, and another student raises his hand and says, "Alligators are so aggressive because of the size of their medulla oblongata." Boucher yells out in disbelief and storms out of the class in defense of his mama. Eventually, the professor says, "Something must be wrong with his medulla oblongata." Sandler loses his mind in anger and tackles the professor. Ironically, the medulla oblongata is a very important area of self regulation, and you can activate its neuroplasticity through breath holds. It plays a role in regulating autonomic functions such as heart rate, breathing, and reflexes. Breath control techniques, including breath holds, can indeed help improve aspects of autonomic regulation by influencing the nervous system and the medulla oblongata itself is just one part of this complex process. It is a skill that most people never tap into. That's exactly what happens when you practice breath holds. You're not just holding your breath, you're waking up your brain's chemoreceptors in the medulla oblongata, the control center in your brainstem that monitors CO2 levels. As CO2 builds up, these sensors trigger powerful signals, forcing your brain to adapt and grow stronger. This isn't about this isn't just about breathing, it's about building resilience. By training your body to handle stress and increasing your CO2 tolerance, you're training your brain to stay calm under pressure and to perform at its absolute best. Holding your breath is one of the most effective and efficient things you can do to build your stress tolerance. Think about it. There is nothing more stressful than the lack of oxygen. Here's the kicker. This process fuels neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to rewire itself. You're creating the perfect conditions for your brain and memory to heal, grow, and perform at levels you didn't think were possible. This is life changing stuff. You're literally reprogramming your brain's ability to recover and thrive. This isn't just about holding your breath. It's your brain's secret weapon to better health. Just as you need to practice the mechanics of shooting a great jump shot, you will understand how changing the pace and intensity of your breathing can rapidly change the state of your brain health. Holding your breath allows you to tap into the 0 point field where the past, present, and future all simultaneously exist. Interesting. Action step. Try this 3 step breath hold secret. Step 1, cyclical hyperventilation breathing. Start by sitting comfortably. Take 30 very deep, steady breaths to flood your body with adrenaline and oxygen. Breathe by expanding your belly. Steady, powerful inhales through your mouth. This primes your lungs and makes it easier to hold your breath for longer. Now take those notes down. I am going to read the rest of this. I think I only have several minutes left. Step 2, the breath hold. On your last deep inhale, take a full breath and hold. Stay calm as your CO2 levels rise. This is where your brain starts to adapt and grow stronger. Hold for as long as you can without straining, then exhale slowly. Number 3, build your strength. Rest for a minute, then repeat for 3 to 5 rounds. With each round, push yourself to hold your breath just a little longer. This not only builds CO2 tolerance, but trains your brain to handle stress, boosting your recovery. Step 4, track your results and repeat. It's important to time how long you can hold your breath so that you can see the improvements over time. So it's a good idea to use a small timer or a stopwatch on your phone to time the amount of time that you're able to hold your breath. Now, we are reading from Really Focus, Engage Brain, BRAIN. This next second step is R for repetition. And he has a quote here by Ziglar. Repetition is the mother of learning, the father of action, which makes it the architect of accomplishment. Repetition, repetition, repetition. Okay, repetition matters. It's not just a nice to know fact, it's a universal truth and the driving force behind all change, says Dr. Brody Miller. Repetition is the mother of all learning. What we repeat, we become better at, period. This timeless adage holds especially true in the context of memory recovery after a concussion or brain injury. Why? When the brain is damaged, the old communication pathways, those routes your brain relies on to function, get disrupted. Neuroplasticity is triggered by consistent, deliberate action. When you're on the battlefield of brain injury recovery, repetition is your best friend. Let me explain. My friend Quintiero, Quintero, who's deep into his studies to become a clinical neuroscientist, put it perfectly. When you have a brain injury, essentially, you have a disruption in the pathways your brain uses to solve common problems to accomplish a goal. Think about that. Whether it's the goal of thinking, speaking, moving, or anything else, those smooth automatic brain functions you once had are now suddenly interrupted. It's like hitting a construction roadblock or detour. Your brain has to find a new, longer pathway to solve the same problem or achieve the same goal. Whatever the goal is, it like tying your shoes, talking, walking, whatever that is, it takes time. It takes lots of time and energy for the brain to rewire. And then next week, we will look at the diagrams below to see exactly what he means. Um, we will see these next week. Before TBI, after TBI, you start there and you have that little roadblock after TBI. We will see this later. Okay. Now, I will talk to you next week for Brain Rescue. We will have tomorrow How to Feed a Brain by Calvin Ballister. And I will see you every day with a different book for morsels of a thought of wisdom. Okay? Old Kinderhook.